Welcome to Sister, where real women are talking about real life. We have with us on the show today, we have Melissa.
Hi.
My new friend Flo.
Hello.
A new friend Markel.
Hi.
And Roxanne. We're so excited to be with you. Are you ready to get started?
Let's do it.
Are you ready for some
Yep.
awesome
Yep.
discussion? Here we go. First question. Marriage, the topic is marriage. Young or waiting? Should we wait? What is the benefits of getting married young, older? Roxanne.
Oh, you would pick me. Well, as my father Abraham and his son Isaac did, Isaac was about 40. I know they lived longer, but Isaac was about 40. So my druthers are, you better wait and make sure you clean out a lot of your life, most of your life, before you engage it with somebody else.
Okay.
So as Isaac did, I think you ought to go for it and wait a while.
Okay.
I don't know about that. Because I think there's young love. Yeah. And I really feel like there are couples out there that have been married 60 years and they grew together.
Right.
You know, they learned from each other, they grew together. So I kind of differ with you on that, Roxanne.
Surprisingly, I kind of agree with both of them. Yeah, I agree. Well, you know, because I look at, how many of you remember the movie Fiddler on the Roof and the song that they sing, Do You Love Me? Yes. And, you know, no matter who you...
Matchmaker, make me a match.
And, you know, the whole thing of it is, the gist of that is that even though in those days marriages were prearranged, that no matter who you marry 99% a stranger anyway. You know, because when you're dating, you're getting this one person who's putting on their best behavior. And when you come together, you have two different backgrounds, you know, two different cultures perhaps. There's a whole lot of different factors that come into it. So the bottom line is how mature are you? That's where I agree in God. Whether you can be young and be more mature in the Lord than somebody that's 60, you know?
Spiritual maturity I see, but honestly, me and my husband are still very immature. And what we realize is that it's loyalty and commitment. And that I think the most common misconception, or misperception, whatever that word is, that my friends and I all decided is that when somebody thinks they're ready enough for both partners. Because it's so common to say, like, I really think I was ready to take on that commitment and that loyalty. Maybe they weren't, but I was so committed that I thought it was enough for both. So that, in a sense, is like a spiritual immaturity.
I have some young couples in my life, and it's like, will you get married already? Sometimes they've been dating 4, 5 years, 3.5 years, and you're like, how long are you going to go with this sort of tension, if you know what I mean, between you? It's like, let's get married and get on with the plans and the things of God. What kind of what?
Tension are you talking about?
Sexual tension.
I mean, real subjects here, real life. You know,
Sometimes, though, children are afraid, younger people are afraid to get married because of the example they saw growing up with divorce, abuse, or other things. So they're afraid of failure. So many times they need to work through some of those issues. Having faith, believing this is God's choice and I'm going to work through it no matter what.
And I think the messages that the media gives too about marriage today has a lot of people confused. It doesn't have the same priority. You can live together first and you can, you know, you don't have to really be married, you know. But I figure this way, if a man cares about his dog, he has a license on him. So why should you be with me without him?
Did you have unrealistic expectations when you first got married? And then how did you resolve those
Absolutely 1000%. Yes. I had unrealistic expectations. How did I resolve them? We're still working on them.
It's a work in progress. And I think that's for every marriage. I think people come and go and especially young ladies or women, we kind of think it's supposed to be this way, this way, this way. And reality is that it's not. You know, and it's just a growing period, a time to learn about each other even more.
We're growing up watching these, you know, fairy tale stories.
Yes.
And even the other night, Cinderella was on, and my boys were even watching. They thought it was so funny that the mice were making her dress. You know, they're more interested in the animals. But we're growing up looking at Cinderella and the prince, and it's all perfect. And then we get married, and you're like, what happened?
Yes.
This isn't so perfect.
That's right.
But that's the cool thing about it, is we get to work things out together and grow as a couple.
Yeah.
I think marriage really is about, well, I know it is. It's about dying to self. And I think that's why even scripturally the Bible talks about the love of Christ and referring that at, you know, when it comes to marriage. And sometimes you feel that way. You kind of, you know, you have these intense fellowships with your spouse, and you know, as women, sometimes you may look at your husband and think, why don't you just love me like Christ loved the church and die?
Right.
You know, like die to self, die to flesh, die, you know.
And I think when we enter marriage, we have to understand we're two different people.
Exactly.
I'm in the law side, the community outreach. My husband is more science, biochemistry major, and environmentalism. And we come with two different perspectives, but we have to support each of those perspectives, mutually supporting those, understanding with the expectation she's going to grow to her fullest and he's going to grow to her fullest, instead of putting the pressure or dampening people's calling, the person's calling that God has called them to.
That's right.
Really good.
Is it unrealistic to have a clean house, laundry done, supper on the table every night, and have a happy family?
I don't know if it's unrealistic, but I don't have it in my home.
No. Sometimes I do, and sometimes I don't. There's just weeks that are like smooth as butter, and then there's weeks that are like, like this week. And so you just have to kind of, it's like an ebb and a flow. It's an unforced rhythm of grace.
Right.
But I like it that my husband says, do you want to go eat out? Yeah.
Yes.
Let's go.
And I think it's a matter of setting priorities.
Yeah.
Is it more important you eat together, have that roast beef and mashed potatoes, or is it okay to have that fry and that burger, but you're together?
Right.
So what is the most important thing for that week?
Well,
What is
I
the
don't know if
most
it's like this for
important?
you guys, but for me, my priorities change every week.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like one week
That's
I'll be like,
more
it's all about the
realistic.
kids, and the next week I'm like, kids, go away. It's all about the house.
And it's about balance.
Right.
You know, it's about every week, because our schedules are constantly changing, and so you are coming back into a new balance and figuring out, how do we work this out? How do we do this? How do we do that? So
I know my children I'll be screaming, clean up the house, clean up the house. They'll say, who's coming, who's coming? So we have to get better at managing our time to make sure there is some cleanliness, but the sheets aren't changed every week, and the sinks aren't scrubbed every week, and we have to live with that if we want to live together and enjoy each other.
Right. This is a big question. Is it okay to keep secrets and to have secrets in marriage?
No, definitely not.
Do you know what I do? I have a couple secrets. Now, it's nothing that affects my marriage or my husband, but if somebody says something to me in confidence, in the church, I have young women come to me and say, I'm going to tell you something, and I love my husband to death, but he cannot keep a secret. He'll accidentally, so I heard, and I'm like, Joe, what are you doing?
Yes.
So yeah, I do, but it's nothing that I would ever keep from him. If it was a temptation or something about our marriage, I would never, I would never jeopardize that.
I think you have to establish what a secret is, realistically.
Yeah.
No, I mean, really.
Right.
And then there are some things that, I know it all sounds really nice, no secrets, don't tell your husband, but the word itself says all things are lawful but not expedient. And the thing of it is what's going to be the fruit of it when I tell this to you? So I think you have to weigh all of that in. As she just said, balance is a key thing through
I think
our whole walk.
timing, like you're saying, flow is everything. And will it affect my spouse? If it's a secret personal to me, will it affect him some way in the future? Yes, I think we need to be honest, we need to be humble and approach it in the proper way as best we can, and maybe share it with somebody else to get some ideas on how to explain this to a spouse. But if it's going to affect him or children or family in the future, yes, I think we need to be honest with ourselves and with our spouse, but as Flo said, in the proper timing.
Right. Well, you have heard what the sisters have to say. Will you please email your comments or questions or thoughts to us? We'd love to hear from you at s2s@ctvn.org. And remember, as iron sharpens iron, so one sister will sharpen another. We'll see you next time.